Good
I'm
evening.
April. So here we are for our first colloquium on research, which is taken over by Dr. Sri Sai Chilpuri. So his topic today is all about the practical approach towards sampling techniques. So over to Sai sir.
Good evening to one and all. Thank you, Amulya madam. The topic is practical approach towards understanding sampling techniques. The agenda is introduction, 5 essential components to the coherence of the study, understanding concepts of sampling, then sampling techniques and simple exercises. At the end of the session, the participants will be able to describe the concepts of sampling and will be able to demonstrate the concepts of sampling techniques and decide appropriate sampling technique while developing research design. Okay, sampling is the statistical technique which will be used for giving statistical inferences. It is not only important on view with statistics, but when we conduct research, the researcher need to know what should be the sample and how the sample should be selected. The reason it is the key factor which is going to impact the data collection process, its analysis, and finally the findings of the research report which is being given by the researcher. So the researcher need to be careful such that it should be representative sample. Representative sample means it is a subset of the population. It will be reflecting the characteristics or features of entire population. So it should be the representative sample. The reason is from the population we are selecting few as a sample based upon the observations made on these cases or subjects of the sample. We will be generalizing it to the complete population. So whenever we choose a sample, it should be representing the actual subjects or the population which we need to uh, conduct observations for our research purpose. The 5 essential components to achieve the coherence of the study and to maintain consistency in the throughout the process of the study is purpose of the study, theories associated with our research study, then research questions, methods, and the sampling strategies used by the researcher. In short, let us try to understand these 5 components. Firstly, purpose. The researcher need to clearly state what is the main aim and core purpose of the research that is being carried, and he should be specifying through the statements which he uh, writes as the purpose, that should be able to describe whether it is an descriptive research, exploratory research, or action oriented research, and it should be having the criteria to describe to explain why research is being carried, whether it is to describe or explain or understand something or some phenomenon, and what is the actual problem the research is trying to achieve. Those should be stated under the purpose. Next coming is the second factor is theories associated. The theories which are established will be the baseline for our research activity. So the researcher need to be having thorough knowledge about the theories which are associated with the research which is being carried. Generally in behavioral sciences and psychology, the theories are plenty available. So these behavioral science researchers and psychology researchers, they need to have thorough knowledge on the theories associated with their research activity. And those research activities will be acting as and they will be setting assumptions for your research, what to be done, how to be done. And the researcher need to establish the conceptual framework which will be linking the phenomena or the core problem which is trying to achieve through his research objective. And research questions are the centralized and focused part of the research. This should not be too narrow and too broader. and this should not be too easy or too much difficult to answer the question. So it should be straightforward. It should be triggering what is the problem that is being identified. Why, what, how, does, did. These are the adjectives which can be used while framing the research question. And what do you need to know to achieve the purpose of your study? How are the questions rational in answering the research problem? The questions which are framed should be rational. Rational in the sense, what are the research objective that has been identified? Based upon the research objectives, the variables of the study are to be identified. Depending upon that, the sampling should be finalized, and the type of the data should be collected also will be depending on the centralized research questions. This is one of the key criteria for the coherence of the studies. And the next coming is methods. Under the methodology part, the researcher need to state what are the specific methods that will be used in the process of collection of the data. Before going to the sample size, depending upon the sample size, the researcher will be determining what is the data that can be collected in order to achieve the research questions which have been identified based upon the extensive literature review. And finally, coming to the sampling strategy. The three decisions which majorly call while in the process of research design is the sample, that is whom to be sampled, what should be the sample size, and what is the technique that is to be adapted for choosing the sample. So who will be surveyed? The researcher must determine what type of information is needed. Depending upon the type of information, the sample need to be selected, and based upon the data collection process will be proceeded. And sample size plays a significant role. The reason is, in the initial slide we have stated that the sample should be representative sample. So whatever the sample size that is selected, based on those observations only, we will be generalizing the statements to the entire population. So sample size plays a key role. And the technique which is adapted for the purpose of selecting that sample. It can be either probability sampling and non-probability sampling. The probability sampling majorly used in case of qualitative research activities. So these are the concepts of sampling: population, sampling frame, and sample. So sample is a subset of sampling frame, and it is a subset of population. From here, the actual core part of the session continues. Let us take an example and try to understand the concepts of sampling about population, sampling frame, and sample. Example I have taken here is, the researcher intends to explore and study the average marks of students studying in BCom course. Here the population will be comprising all students who have enrolled in the university for BCom course. So population, the meaning we can say as all possible units or elements. That is, all students of university will be the population. Sampling frame. Sampling frame is the list. It contains complete details of the population. For example, the sampling frame can be taken from the official records of college. If it's the case of the students here, the example in which you have taken. If you are trying to do research on employees, then the employee database. If you are trying to do research on any government, those who have benefited through government schemes, those details. So it is the list which will be comprising of names of the population which the researcher is intending to conduct research on them. That is nothing but the subjects or the cases. Here in research, we need to remember subject, cases, units, elements. All these are one and same. Subject, elements, units, and cases. The sampling frame is, we can say it as the largest possible sample of population. If we observe this figure, the green colored shade, it is population. Here, all the students who are registered for Osmania University is the population. Sampling frame, the BCom students which have been uh, taken or enrolled for BCom course. Their details comes under the sampling frame. Next, coming to sampling unit or sampling element. Sampling unit or sampling element refers to each and every student who have enrolled in BCom course. Each student is a unit. Each student is an element. And finally, sample is the portion of the population which is finally selected for the purpose of conducting research activity. It is the students who are studying BCom course. So this is about sample, population, sampling unit or element and sampling frame. Now coming to the sampling techniques, probability sampling and non-probability sampling. Under probability sampling, there are 5 types: simple random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified random sampling, cluster sampling, multi-stage sampling. And one more, the second one, non-probability sampling. Under that, quota sampling, snowball sampling, judgment sampling, and convenience sampling. Coming to the probability sampling. So probability sampling is the statistical technique which will be using the probability theory for the purpose of sampling. In this probability sampling, it will give equal opportunity and equal chance for all the elements in the population to be part of sample. For example, in the previous example, we have taken students who have enrolled in for BCom course. So each and every student who has enrolled is given equal chance if we are following the probability sampling. That is irrespective whether BCom General, BCom Computers, BCom Taxation, each and every student who has enrolled will be given equal opportunity and equal chance to be part of the sample. And it should be representative sampling. Under the probability sampling, the first one, simple random sampling. Here under the simple random sampling, all the population elements in the population are given numbers and they will be picked up randomly. This random picking up of the units or elements can be done through the process of randomization, that is through using computer generated randomization technique we can pick up the sample. The best example to understand the simple random sampling is the lottery system through which we will be determining or drawing the sample. And this simple random sampling will be applicable where the population is small and homogeneous groups. If the population is too large and having different characteristics and features, simple random sampling technique is not useful for that. If you observe this figure clearly depicts about simple random sampling. Out of this entire, this is the sampling frame. Out of this, we have selected the shaded persons who are having 1, first person, 4th person, 12th and 14th person. So simple random sampling, assigning numbers and randomly picking up. For example, if I want to pick up BCom students of section A, then rule number 1, rule number 20, rule number 21, 23, 24, rule number 30. So that is my sample. Randomly I am picking up the sample. That is called as simple random sampling. This is possible only where the population is too small. So in the earlier example which I have taken to study about students of BCom under Usmania University, the sample is very large. In that case, this will not be applicable. It is, if we are studying about single college BCom students, then simple random sampling technique can be used. Next, coming to systematic sampling and probability sampling. Under systematic sampling, complete population is arranged in an order and they are selected at a regular intervals. In this process, this can also be called as systematic random sample. The reason why we are using a systematic random sample is in the process of selecting these units or elements at the regular intervals, we will be having a random start. The first point where we are picking up the sample, there will be a random start. We are not going to pick up First person, Jay madam. Madam, Jay madam, you have raised hand.
Yes, yes, sir. Chapan, sir. Yes, sir.
You have raised the hand, madam.
By mistake, I think, sir.
Okay, madam. So
Okay,
under
okay, you
this
can
system,
continue.
okay, madam. Under systematic random sampling, there will be a random start. We are not going to pick up first person, second person. Randomly, we'll be selecting first any one person out of the entire population, and after some kth element, we'll be selecting the sample. For example, if the sample which we require is, for example, the sample we need is 50 and the total population is 500, then the kth element for the purpose of sample selection will be population size is 500 divided by sample size 50. So it will give us 10. So every 10th person will be my sample. For example, out of 500 students, out of 1000 students, let us suppose, I am taking second student as my random start. Then from 2 to 12th person. 12th person will be my next sample. Then from 12 to 22 will be my next sample. Then 32, 42, 52, 62. Like that, up to reaching of 50th person, it is going to represent complete 500 units in the sample population. Is this point clear, madam? All of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
If you observe this sampling frame, for example, let us suppose these are the list of members in the telephone directory. The random start I have taken as the third person, and I am taking again the third person. Again, it will be the 6th, 9th, 12th, like that the sampling selection process will be continued. This is called as systematic sampling. We are arranging total population in a order and we are randomly picking up first person, and from there some nth person or kth person depending upon total population size and the sample which we require, we are going to pick up randomly. That is called a systematic random sampling. The third type under probability sampling is stratified random sampling. Strata means groups. Strata means groups or subgroups. So the total population will be divided into some groups. The division of the population to groups will be based on either gender or either based on their occupation or either based on some X criteria. So for example, gender, male, female, and the third category, occupation, lawyers, advocates, etc. So the researcher is going to take few criterias, and based upon that criteria, he will divide entire population into the small groups. For example, if you are doing research in your society, in your gated community or society, then small children who are below 10 years, 10 to 18 years, then 18 to 30 years, like that you are segregating total population based on certain criteria, like school going, college going, and those who are employed and senior citizens. So certain criteria the researcher will be taking and making into the groups. For example, if you observe this sampling frame, it is based on gender, women and men. So two groups have been formed. From these two groups, randomly we are picking up first person, second, third person. First, third, fourth person has been picked up. So this process is called as stratified random sampling. Then cluster sampling. Cluster sampling is also the process which is similar to the stratified sampling, where the total population will be divided into clusters or groups. But this cluster sampling will be useful where the total population is spread throughout the geographical areas. In that case of the cluster sampling, based on the geographical areas, the researcher will be dividing the population into the groups. For example, you are studying about Hyderabad city, then Panjagutta, LB Nagar, then Kutbullapur, like that each, like for example, selecting each mandal and making it as a cluster. From that clusters, selected clusters, either one or two or three, depending upon the need and requirement of the study of the researcher, he will be selecting only few clusters. For example, 10 clusters have been formed by the researcher. He is not going to study complete 10 clusters. You'll be making, you'll be choosing only either 2 or 3 depending upon the purpose for which he is conducting. If you observe this sampling frame, the researcher has divided into 5 clusters and he has selected second cluster and fourth cluster. Here the small difference between stratified sampling and cluster sampling is, in cluster sampling, the cluster or the group which is selected will be the sample, complete sample. For example, in this, three members are forming part of the cluster. So complete 3 members will be the sample. And in the second cluster also 3 members are there. Complete 3 members will be the sample. Whereas in case of stratified random sampling, let us try to understand by the same picture. In case of stratified random sampling, depending upon certain criteria, let us suppose he has fragmented into 5 clusters. And from each cluster, one person is selected. From each cluster, one person is selected. Then that is called as stratified sampling. So within the groups, if the sample is being picked up, that is called as stratified sampling. Whereas in case of cluster sampling, only few groups will be selected as a sample. Is this point clear, madam? Stratified
Yes,
cluster.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Next, coming to the multi-stage sampling. This multi-stage sampling, in the previous case, cluster sampling will be in 2 stages. Whereas multi-stage sampling, it will be more than 2 stages. And sometimes we can call it as multi-stage random sampling or multi-stage cluster sampling. The purpose of conducting this multi-stage random sampling is in order to dig more deeper and deeper into the process of selection of subjects or cases of the population. For example, a research agency were to conduct survey on farmers' needs and their access to various farming and allied resources in India. So the research agency is conducting survey on farmers about what are the farming needs in India. It could simply take random sample of farmers within the entire Indian population. So under the stage 1, you will be dividing complete India into based on cropping season, Rabi, Kharif and Zaid. In the second stage, you will be randomly again divide the population into farmers who are producing food crops and cash crops. Then further in the subdivision, you will be selecting, you will be going for sample of farmers who are producing rice, wheat, maize, pulses. Then you'll be checking what are the states which are majorly producing pulses, rice, wheat and maize. Then in the last stage, finally, the farmers can be selected based on the cooperative societies under which they are registered. So the sample selection of farmers has taken place in 5 stages. It is not mandatory to follow these 5 stages. Depending upon the research idea which the researcher is having, he can frame his stages. And this multi-stage sampling can be applied where the population is too vast, and to gather student perception from students belonging to various colleges and studying different courses, to survey employees of MNCs belonging to multiple locations in multiple countries, government bureaus use this method all the time to draw inferences from the population. And multi-phase sampling reduces the time taken to research an area. It also keeps tab on the cost of research. The cost of research can be reduced to a certain extent when we follow multi-stage random sampling instead of following simple random sampling. And the information collected from the samples is used to draw inferences from the population as a whole. So these are the different applications under which the multi-stage sampling can be applied. This is only the this is not the exhaustive list. This is only a simple list. Next, coming to the non-probability sampling. This non-probability sampling is the technique where all the elements of the population are not given equal chance to be part of the sample. And this can be based either on subjective judgment or subjective opinions of the researcher rather than probability or random selection of the sample. Example, researcher intends to conduct elections exit poll survey by administering a questionnaire by going door to door. So when he knocks the door, the first person who opens the door would be the respondent who is going to give responses to his questions. If in that household, for example, let us more than 2 or 3 or more than 5 members are having the voting right. In that, 2 persons are unemployed and 3 persons are employed. So when the researcher goes door to door, only 2 persons are available, the first person and the other person. So he is going to take information, he is going to collect data only from 2 persons. He is going to ignore the other 3 persons. So he is not going to give complete chance for entire population to be part of the sample. This is a simple example through which we can understand non-probability sampling. Now let us see the types of non-probability sampling. First one, quota sampling.
Sir, a small doubt. So in that previous example you said, so he is specifically choosing people, right?
Yes. It's not
okay.
specifically within the locality where the, for example, in the last week we had in Dubaka elections. The researcher, if you want to conduct exit poll survey, you need to go to Dubaka only. That is the place.
Okay. Got it. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. The first technique under non-probability sampling is quota sampling. As we already know, quota means fixing certain limit, certain percentage. So the researcher is going to fix predetermined quota prior to the selection of the sample. If we observe this sampling frame, here we can observe old age people, small kids, and middle age people. When he has taken the sample, quota male above 50 years. So out of the entire population, he wants to study the male category people and who are above 50 years. So this is the quota. And this quota sampling can be of proportionate quota sampling and non-proportionate quota sampling. In proportionate quota sampling, based upon certain criteria like gender, age, or occupation, the researcher is going to fix the percentage. For example, if the researcher wants to conduct survey of 150 members, the total population is of 500, 300 males and 200 females. He wants to sample 150 members and he is predetermined fixing 35% male and 65% female. So this is called as proportionate quota sampling. Whereas in case of non-proportionate quota sampling, there is no such percentage fixed. He wants 150 members out of 500. So he is going to pick up without any fixed percentage. That is called as non-proportionate quota sampling. The second technique under non-probability is snowball sampling. Snowball sampling is like a referral program. This type of technique will be used by the researcher when the researcher is not having complete knowledge about the research cases or the units or elements. For example, if I want to investigate about the personality of billionaires, I might be knowing 1 or 2 persons, not the entire population who are billionaires. So the researcher will be approaching to the first person and taking the information, and he requests to pass on the questionnaire to the other person. So like that, the chain of sample is going to increase. That is called as snowball sampling. If you observe the sampling frame, it is clear to understand the first person has approached to two persons. From there, the chain is increasing. This is called as snowball sampling technique. This will be used when researcher is not having complete and thorough knowledge about the research, that is the cases or subjects or the entire population. For example, if I want to conduct survey on employees satisfaction of who are working in MNCs, multinationals, but I don't know all the employees. I might be having friends in one or two companies. So I'll be approaching them and taking the information, and I request them to pass on to his peer members, and they'll be passing to their peer members and other friends. So like that, the chain of sample is increased. That is called as snowball sampling, a referral program. Reference is done. Next, coming to the convenience sampling. This is the most, this is the technique which is widely used by majority of the researchers because of conveniently the sampling can be selected. For example, if I want to conduct a survey on student satisfaction about online teaching, etc. As I am having complete access to our college, I can access our students and generalize it to the complete population of Usmania University. So that is called as convenience sampling. But this type of sampling is generally used by the students who are conducting their UG or PG research programs. But this will not be useful for higher research activities. If you, for example, let us take, if I want to conduct survey on passengers who are using metro trains, then as a researcher, I will be going to any one of the metro station which is accessible to me, and I will try to gather the information from the passengers who are getting down in that metro station. For example, these all are the passengers. I am standing here, and these are the people with whom I am able to get into touch and gather the information, which is called as convenience sampling. For example, if you are conducting survey in your locality, you might be giving questionnaire to your friends, to your neighbors and family members. You are not going to consider complete population in your locality. That is called as convenience sampling. The next one is purposive or judgmental sampling. The purposive or judgmental sampling, it is a strategy where the researcher will be selecting the sample according to the knowledge which he is having. Depending upon the credibility and understanding capacity of him, he will decide who can be the better sample and who can give genuine response to his research purpose. To them only is going to going and collect the information. That is called as purposive or judgmental sampling. For example, to study the impact of child labor on children, the researcher will search and interview only the children who are subjected to child labor. For example, out of this entire population, the shaded persons are child laborers, remaining other are the above 20 years or above 30 years aged people. These are below 15 years, let us suppose. So I want to, the researcher wants to conduct survey on child labor. So the researcher will be having complete knowledge that only these people who are child and employed as a labor can give complete information. So these will be selected as the sample. That is called as purposive sample or judgmental sampling. This is about sampling techniques, probability and non-probability sampling techniques. Here I have stated few simple exercises. Let us try to understand. All of you can answer this. If we have to check whether taste, shape and size of all the chips in a factory made are good or not, which technique can be used?
So shape, taste and size of all the chips.
Yes, in a factory they are
Probability
producing chips.
sampling, sir.
Probability sampling only, madam. Under probability sampling, again we are having list, no? Shall I show that
Okay,
list?
okay. Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Madam, do one thing, madam. You take screenshot of this.
Okay, sir.
It will be simple random sampling, sir.
Yes, it is simple random sampling, madam. Madam, please note these techniques in rough paper at least.
Or
There are
else
nearly-
I'll post it in the group, sir. I'll take a picture and post it in the group.
Okay, okay. Keep it in the group. Amulya, madam, shall I continue?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, the first one is simple random sampling. From 1000 people, 700 males and 300 females, according to which if you want to choose 100 people, then 70 males should be selected and 30 females should be selected. Total population is 1000, comprising 700 males and 300 females. I want to select 100 people, that is 70 males and 30 females. Which technique?
Systematic sampling. No.
No, it is
Quota
not
sam-
systematic.
Quota?
Yes, it is quota sampling, proportionate quota sampling. 700 males, 300 females, 70 males and 30 females, proportionate quota sampling.
Sir, but here I just have a small doubt. This can also be, now quota sampling is a non-random sampling, no?
Yes.
Non-probability sampling, no? So this can also be a probability kind, no, sir? Because you are purposefully selecting 700 male and 300 female.
Madam, subjective point of view, we are categorizing as probability and non-probability. But in the actual case, when we conduct research, it will be mixed. Firstly, we are predeterminedly fixing the percentage. Then again, we may jump to the probability sampling. Basically, what we are focusing on, trying to understand what is the basic technique which we are applying for this.
Okay, sir. Okay.
A researcher wants to study problems faced by the migrants in an area. So he or she will start from one, and that migrant will give him or her the information about the other migrant. And so it makes a chain, and in this way, sample goes on growing.
It is snowball sampling, sir.
Yes, but it is snowball sampling.
snowball sampling.
From one person to the other person, chain is increased.
Yeah.
Fourth one, madam. If a researcher wants to know how many patients of depression are doing particular yoga postures and meditation, he or she will select those patients who he or she thinks will give 100% feedback.
Judgmental sampling.
Yes, ma'am. It is judgmental sampling.
Judgment sampling.
Judgment. A company interested in brand penetration may lack the resources to survey an entire city. What type of sampling technique can be applied by the company?
Convenience sampling.
Madam?
Sorry, convenience.
No, madam, it is not convenience. Madam, let me make it more clear. The company is interested in brand penetration, but it is not having complete resources to survey the entire city.
Okay.
So again, judgmental only.
Firstly, it will be cluster sampling, madam.
Cluster sampling.
Cluster sampling for the entire city will be segregated into groups based on the criteria, based on the brand penetration, brands, and then the survey will be conducted.
Sir,
Madam,
Sai sir.
madam.
Sir, what was the difference that you told between stratified random and cluster sampling, sir?
Madam, stratified random sampling, for example, there are 5 sections. Computers, let us take 3, computers, general and advertising. These 3 are groups. If I am taking 10 students from computers, 10 from advertising, 10 from general, that is stratified. Each group, within that group, we are selecting the sample.
Okay,
Now,
okay.
out of these 3 groups, I am taking only advertising complete 60 students as a sample, ignoring
Okay.
computers
Okay,
and
okay.
general. That is cluster.
Cluster. Okay, sir. Yeah.
Okay,
Got it.
madam. Next one, madam. The management of a chain of schools having 8 branches wants to know what percentage on an average have been obtained by his grade 10 students in board examination.
The cluster.
Yes, madam, 100% cluster sampling. There are 8 branches, not cluster, it is stratified.
Stratified.
Stratified. All 8 branches students have been part of the sample. It is cluster sampling. Sorry, stratified random sampling. Next one. All employees of the company are listed in alphabetical order. From the first 10 numbers, you randomly select a starting point, number 6. From number 6 onwards, every 10th person on the list is selected.
Systematic sampling.
Systematic.
Systematic sampling,
Yes.
correct.
System.
Very good students.
Thank you, sir.
Any chocolates for good students, sir?
No chocolates, no gifts, no bribing. All employees of the company are listed in, again, same question.
So,
Madam.
Sai sir,
Madam.
which means that at the end of the day, if we want to have satisfaction, then we all should have such colloquiums. Because in the classes, we are not getting any satisfaction. We don't know whom we are teaching.
Yes, madam, 100%.
So in this way, see, you are so happy, good students. We should have more such kind of sessions to keep ourselves happy.
Before
Okay.
completing of the question only, answer is
We are
coming.
getting the answer. That means the people are already reading the question before you can ask.
Yes, madam.
Okay, sir. Continue, sir.
Last 2 questions. In a bag full of rice,
Simple
Auto-
random sampling.
some rice, there are high chances of each rice grain being selected. Yes, simple random sampling. Okay. This is for this 10th question. There are 4 options also. Try to
Okay.
understand this question properly.
Okay,
An
sir.
auto analyst, automobile industry, is conducting a satisfaction survey, sampling from a list of 10,000 new car buyers. 10,000 is the population. The list includes 2,500 Tata Nexon buyers, 2,500 Mercedes-Benz, and 2,500 Maruti Wagon-R, and 2,500 Toyota buyers. The analyst selects sample of 400 cars. Out of 10,000, only 400 car buyers are sampled. By random sampling, 100 buyers of each. So Tata Nexon 100, Mercedes 100, Maruti Wagon-R 100, and Toyota 100. Is this an example of simple random sample? The options are these.
Sir, can you show the question again? Once.
I'll post it in the group, madam.
Okay, sir.
Madam, I posted the question in the group. I'm
Yes,
showing
sir.
the options.
400 carbons.
Very confusing option, sir.
Madam, in the question last given as, is this an example of simple random sample? So try to relate with it with the simple random sampling technique. If it is yes, yes, no, no. But if it is yes, there are again 3 options. If it is no, there are 2 options.
Sir, is it option C?
Because car buyers of every band were equally represented in the sample.
Sir B.
D, sir, D.
Sir B.
What is the final answer?
B, sir.
Even I feel it's D, sir.
Priyanka madam, you said C, no. What is the justification?
Yeah, correct,
Sir,
Priyanka.
the initially only when we are selecting from each brand, we are doing random sampling only. So there itself, there is a chance that every, buyer has the option of getting selected. And from there again, they're selecting. So I feel initial stage itself that random sampling has been done. When they selected the first, what do you say? 400, huh? What
400.
those? Yeah, yes, sir. I feel like that.
Okay. Someone said D. Madam, who said D?
Sir, I said.
Madam, what is the justification? And why it is not a simple random sampling? Then what type of sampling it is?
Sir, here already the 10,000 new car buyers have already been categorized, no, sir,
Yes, ma'am.
into different categories.
Yes.
So that's the reason why I felt that probably it will not be simple random sampling, because already you are dividing them into. I think it would be something like a multi-stage sampling or something like that.
Any more answers, madam?
Sir, I think it's B. B for ball.
Why?
Because out of 10,000 cars, there is an equal chance for all the brands, right?
Okay.
And from that from all those brands, he's randomly selecting 400 buyers from each brand. That means there is an equal chance. So it is like
100, no,
systematic
not
random.
400 randomly, 100 from each brand. That gives 400.
So there's an equal chance for all the brands. So systematically selecting each brand. Oh, okay.
Overall, Priyanka and Amulya madam, they are saying it is a probability sampling. It is probability sampling only. But it is not only giving equal chance. As Pavitra madam said, they are categorized already into 4 groups: Tata, Mercedes, Maruti, and Toyota. And from this 2,500, respectively, 400 each. That's 400. That is 100 each are selected. So first we are making into clusters, and within that, again from the each cluster, we are selecting 100. So this is stratified random sampling. Within that groups, we are giving equal chance for everyone.
Yeah. Within the group, they're getting equal chance. Before that, they did not get. Yes. Correct.
So this is stratified random sampling. Answer is D.
D.
D for Delhi.
Yeah.
Because every possible 400 buyers sample did not have an equal chance of being chosen. Okay, madam, this is about the sampling techniques. Feedback.
Very interesting question, sir. Last question. Of course, all other questions are also interesting, but this is more interesting. 10th one.
That question I have, to be frank, I have taken from internet. First, before taking, I also tried. I thought it is cluster. Then I waited for 5 minutes and my thought process changed. I got correct answer. Stratified random sampling.
Okay. Very interesting. It's an open forum. Any doubts as such?
No, it was actually very good.
Yeah, thank you, Sai sir.
Thank you, madam.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So on behalf of research group, I thank Sai sir for taking this session on this practical approach for sampling techniques. And yeah, the sampling technique is a very important step for a researcher, especially for those who are using primary data. The sampling technique will be more useful for us. So special thanks. And of course, I like your examples which you have used, sir. For each and every concept, there is an example to relate. and that has actually, to be frank, for me, that has helped me in understanding the actual concept of these techniques, sir. Thank you
Yes,
so
madam.
much for
Without
those examples.
example, no, that will be completely Greek and Latin. Without
Exactly.
example, yes.
Even in books also, we only find the theory part of it, but the examples which we can relate, that will help us in understanding the concept more easily, is what I literally
Yes.
understood with your sessions. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And special thanks to Jaya ma'am, who has given us the opportunity to organize a session on research concepts. And another special thanks to all the participants for actively listening and participating in the exercises which Sai sir has done. Thank you so
I,
much for all the
I,
participants.
I thank every one of you for your patient listening for 1 hour and bearing me.
Sir, we did not actually feel as if it was 1 hour, frankly speaking.
So I should also say that I should appreciate Amulya's perseverance, because so many times she planned, and that many times due to some reason or other reason it was going on getting postponed, but she didn't leave it. She finally, successfully conducted one session. Organized, not conducted. She organized one session. So
Yes,
nice,
ma'am.
Amulya. Keep it up. So
Thank you.
I'm just trying to see that the number of people writing research articles should increase in the department. I
Hmm.
know actually Sai sir and Amulya should have started one paper.
We started, ma'am. We actually started, but still in phase, continuing. We'll have to do it, ma'am.
Come what may, I think as sir says, this kind of opportunity where you have so much of time on hand, will not come any other time. Frankly speaking, we have ample time in hand.
Yes.
We should have utilized this by now. At least more number of people, more paper publications should have happened. But nevertheless, we can still try. So I would appreciate if people who have already written papers, who have an idea, if they can really, improve
Hmm.
writing papers, that would be a good achievement for the department.
Shall we end, madam? Madam, hello. Madam, shall we end?
Everyone, bye bye.
What happened, Durga? Not well.
నో 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 నేను బయట ఉండే అట్లనే వింటూ ఉన్నాను
Acha.
అలా
Oh,
పెట్టేసుకున్నాను జస్ట్ నౌ
Okay, bye all
ఇప్పుడే
of you.
క్లియర్
Bye, sir.
I couldn't talk in between. Bye bye bye.